the weaver of Addis Ababa. Amara arrived in Addis Ababa as a student, but she carried the weight of a leader. The ancient Ethiopian hills, which had sheltered the followers of the prophet and known the footsteps of Solomon's queen, seemed to breathe wisdom. She had come to this confluence of faiths, this land of refuge, to attend a conference on peacebuilding. Her journal was empty, her heart full of questions. How does one mend a nation torn by conflict? On the first day, she met Elder Kale, a statesman from Burundi whose eyes held the memory of both kings and conflicts. "Welcome, daughter," he said, his voice a gentle rhythm. "You stand on ground that has long understood that humanity is a single family. Here we do not build peace with stones, but with stories." Elder Kale began with a story from a time of global darkness. During the Great European War, when the world turned its back, our king, Mwambutsa I, opened our doors to Jewish refugees. He was not a rich king by the world's measure, but he was rich in Ubuntu. He paused, letting the words settle in the air. He understood, "I am because we are." Their safety was his own. Years later, Elder Kale continued, when our own house was divided, another great man, Mandela, came not to command, but to listen. He brought that same spirit of Ubuntu to the peace table. He reminded our leaders that even in disagreement, they were bound to each other. He helped us find the we again. Amara wrote furiously in her journal, the first word she inscribed, Ubuntu. The next day, Amara walked in the gardens with Elder Eliana, a Jewish activist whose spirit shone with fierce compassion. She spoke of a woman named Anne Heyman, who saw the orphans of the Rwandan genocide and was moved to act. Anne did not just see loss, Eliana explained. She saw a tear in the fabric of the world. Her work was an act of tikkun olam, the sacred duty to repair that fabric. She founded the Agahozo Shalom Youth Village, Eliana said, her voice soft with reverence. Not as an orphanage, but as a home where broken hearts could learn to heal themselves and, in turn, heal the world. That is tikkun olam. It is the faith that we are not just inhabitants of the world, but its co-creators and menders. In her journal, Amara wrote the words, tikkun olam. Quiet courtyard, Amara sat with Imam Hassan, a Rwandan scholar whose presence was a balm of serenity. He spoke of the darkest days of 1994. In the midst of madness, he said, our imams and sheikhs stood before their communities. They reminded them of the sacred teaching. Whoever saves one life, it is as if he has saved the whole of humanity. This was not a suggestion, Imam Hassan clarified, his gaze steady. It was a command from God. In that moment, there was no Hutu or Tutsi, only a human life to be saved. This principle is the heart of our faith, that the value of all humanity rests within a single soul. Amara wrote the final phrase in her journal, her hand steady. That night, Amara looked at the 3 entries in her journal. Ubuntu, tikkun olam. To save one life is to save all humanity. She saw they were not 3 different ideas, but a single, luminous truth, told in 3 different tongues. They were the threads of a universal tapestry, woven from compassion, responsibility, and shared existence. As she prepared to leave Addis Ababa, Elder Kale found her. He said nothing, but simply pressed a small woven bracelet of 3 different colored threads into her hand. Amara looked from the bracelet to the elder's knowing eyes. She had arrived as a student seeking answers. She was leaving as a weaver, ready to begin her work.